Welcome to the trial guide for Asphodelos, the first circle, Savage difficulty. Before this fight begins, make sure to assign each player a clock position. This will be important for upcoming mechanics. Heavy Hand is our first tank buster of the fight. Make sure to use a defensive. Warder's Wrath is an unavoidable raid-wide AoE. Ethereal Shackles is a debuff that places red shackles on one player and purple shackles on another. The red shackles will target the 3 farthest players from that player, and the purple shackles will target the 3 closest. Everyone with chains will be dealt a personal AoE. To handle this, you want to ideally stack your ranged at the positions in the back of the arena and your melee at the positions in the middle. If you're not in position, it may cause a player to take damage from both sets of chains, resulting in their death. These debuffs are RNG, so sometimes a ranged player will need to come in close or a melee will need to move far out. Be mindful of which debuff you have and what empty spot needs to be filled. Gowler's Flail will cause the boss to throw out either 2 flails or a mace and a chakram. If he throws 2 flails, they will be dropped one at a time on each side of the boss. He will attack with these in the same order he threw them out at. The safe zone is a 90-degree cone that is the same spot as the opposite flail. If he uses a mace and a chakram, the mace will do an AoE around him and the chakram will do a donut AoE. Pitiless Flail of Purgation is a tank buster with a knockback. The tank hit will also be given a vulnerability debuff when he gets hit by this ability. After the tank is knocked back, a large proximity AoE will go off on the current main tank, which can cause massive damage when it's combined with this debuff. Easiest way to deal with this is the tank swap right after the knockback and have the new tank run the AoE away from the group. Pitiless Flail of Grace is very similar, however this time the follow-up ability needs to be soaked by the whole group. The tank hit by Flail of Grace will again receive a vulnerability debuff, so swap tanks before the stack AoE occurs. Intemperance will cause the boss to spawn 8 cube towers around the arena. Each player needs to move to their designated clock position so that there is 1 player in each outer square. Like in normal, the cubes explode, giving each player a debuff of the opposite element. Fire gives ice, and ice gives fire. However, this time, there are a couple twists. Purple cubes are introduced as the middle cube in most stacks, which will heavily damage anyone that stands in them. The boss can also change the order the cubes explode. They will either go top to bottom or bottom to top. If the raised arm glows, top will be the first to explode, and if it's the bottom arm, bottom will explode first. Middle will always be second. After the first and second cast, the boss will also cast Warder's Wrath, so be ready to heal. After he casts the spell, there are 3 scenarios that can happen depending on the cubes in the south square and which order they explode. First, if there is 3 blue cubes in the south, then everybody's goal will be to return to their original position for the 3rd cube explosion. For the next 2 scenarios, those in the north and northwest squares will aim to swap their squares for the 3rd explosion, while everyone else's strategy stays the same. Second, if the south square has a red cube and the boss's lower hand is glowing, then the person in the north moves south for the 2nd hit and then to the northwest for the final. If you're in the northwest, you move to the north for the 2nd hit and stay there. Third, if the south square has a red cube and the boss's upper hand is glowing, then the person in the north will stay there for the 2nd hit and move to the northwest for the final hit. If you're in the northwest, you will move south for the 2nd hit and north for the final. For the 2nd hit, there will always be fire in the north and ice in the south. You can also stand in the middle to maintain your current debuff. For example, if your stack contains red, purple, and blue cubes, you will move to the center during the 2nd hit before returning to your original spot. For red, purple, red, move to the south during the 2nd hit. For those in the south square, when red, blue, blue is present, move to the middle for the 2nd hit. There must be a player in each square when either a red or blue cube explodes, or the group will take massive damage and die. Shining Cells will suck all players into another dimension for Phase 2 of the fight. Aether Flail will cause either green lightning orbs or red fire orbs to circle the boss. When he uses abilities with these, you will once again need to stand in the opposite element that he is using. He will then mix in combinations of the same flail attacks from his Gowler's Flail ability from earlier. Shackles of Time will put a purple circle around one player. The element that player is standing on will explode when the debuff expires, so the rest of the group needs to be on the opposite element. Slam Shut will return the group to the starting dimension and deal unavoidable raid-wide damage. Fourfold Shackle is Ethereal Shackles again, except this time it will be cast 4 times back to back. Each player will be given a debuff that has a timer of either 3, 8, 13, or 18 seconds. It's important for your group to work out who you want to go where ahead of time. This is a commonly used example of where everyone should be positioned based off of your timer color. Stand on the marker and stand still until all 4 have gone off. The second round of Intemperance will be the same, except this time instead of casting Warder's Wrath in between crystal explosions, the boss will use Gaoler's Flail with mace and chain flails. Dodge these while still doing the other things you need to do. The second Shining Cells also has a twist. This time Ethereal Shackles will be cast combined with the orbs. Position around the correctly colored tiles while remaining spread out appropriately. Finally, if you don't kill the boss fast enough, he will cast Lathe and Enrage instantly, killing the entire group. From here on out, everything will continue to repeat. Do the things, dodge the abilities, and get the kill. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.